Afternoon everybody, Rich here, back for another video for the Diecast F1 review. And here today is the Lotus 79 from the 1978 Formula 1 World Championship, model driven by Mario Andretti. And it's one of the rarer models from the Minichamps line, and I was very lucky to pick this one up. Onto the car itself in real life, the real life counterpart of course from the 1978 season. Took the Drivers' and Constructors' Championship of 1978 with Mario Andretti while sealing the championship at the Italian Grand Prix. Also the same race where his teammate Ronnie Peterson was killed in a pile-up at the first start, although he was driving the older car at the time. Also, I wouldn't say that was a bad thing or a contribution to his death. It's just that was a car he was driving at the time. But first and second in the drivers' championship, of course Mario winning his only championship, and pretty much faded away after that. But it's a fantastic car, technically advanced over its over its opposition, I should say, with the underfloor, basically the floor shaped like an an upside down aeroplane wing. Struggling with my words here, I do apologise, but I will point that out on the model. The underside is very, very curved, and it really just shows how aerodynamically fancy this car was. Also, the car carried over into the 1979 season, but with a different livery. It was now, by that time, it's British Racing Green with the Martini logos all over it, and by that time it is completely outclassed. I think Ligier bettered the car first, and then Ferrari came along and bettered that still, and then Williams at the end of the season bettered that as well. So Lotus pretty much dropped right down the table, no wins, and I think just a couple of podium places as well. They also tried to replace the 79 with the Lotus 80, but I think the drivers said they had a few issues with the car, saying it was too dangerous to drive, so they reverted back to the 79. But yeah, it was a class of the field for just 1 year, and it really showed. I think only Brabham built a car which really matched or bettered it, because of they used the fan car, basically the Brabham BT. Was it the BT46? Or the BT46B, they stuck a fan on the back of the car, basically sucking the car to the track, and that worked well, but was I wouldn't say it was outlawed. They just withdrew it under protest from other teams, so that pretty much gave Lotus the edge for the rest of the season. And of course, sadly, Ronnie Peterson was killed at the Italian Grand Prix, which pretty much sealed the championship for Mario Andretti. But the car is pretty much an evolution. I think I said this at the beginning. An evolution of their previous year's car, the Lotus, the 78 car from 1977. It's confusing with the numbers in the years, because this is the 79 for 1978, and before that it was the Lotus 78 for 1977, and I think that was the building base for this car. Also in the JPS livery as well, but. We'll get onto the model now anyway. It's in its Minichamps box. I usually don't do reviews for the box anymore, because it is basically a box standard Minichamps box, black with the checkers, not much on the side except for the Lotus Ford 79 M Andretti World Champion 1978, and then the usual guff around the back, nothing on the other side, and that is the car in its box. I will point out though that the car, when it comes in the box, is usually displayed with the engine cover attached to the backing card, whereas I've had it out the box a few times, so I've had the engine cover fixed back onto the model. So that's just why I left it in the box. Just point that out first. So now I'm going to do a jump cut, come back, take the car out of the box, and then we'll get on to a proper review. So back in a moment. Okay, here we go. Here's the car in all its unboxed glory, and I have to say it is an absolute stunner. I have a bit of trouble rolling it though, because the skirts of the car are dragging on the ground a little bit, and I don't want to scratch the table. So I've got a different table today because of the lighting effects. Basically there's no sun outside, so I'm having to use the lights from up on the ceiling, so apologies if the lighting is a bit shit. I'm also losing my voice as well. Anyway, let's get on to the car. An absolute stunner, absolutely well made, and I absolutely love this. And it's, like I said at the beginning, a very rare model. I don't know what Minichamps did to make this so popular, but it's a very sought after car as well. But I really don't want to touch it either, because I'll try to pick it up, but I don't want to touch it because of the paintwork is glistening, and I don't want to get my grubby fingerprints on it. I've got some gloves somewhere, but I can't find them. Anyway, just have a spin round of the car. Very nicely detailed. beautiful black livery, a blank canvas livery as well. So if you've got any decals for the John Player Special livery, then by all means buy them and stick them on, because it will look 10 times better. So just have a quick look on the rear gearbox. We've got some plenty of detail for the gearbox. We've got the I'm trying to lift it up a bit. Got the all the cabling and wires, suspension as well, nicely detailed there. And quick look around the other side. Of course, we've got the number 5. Mario sat in the car, although not clutching the steering wheel. He's a bit limp on the steering wheel there. But quick look inside. Plenty of dials, plenty of detail in the cockpit. Nicely detailed in there. Nicely painted as well. There's a bit of dust on the top of the cockpit there, but a beautiful shine on the black paint. And there's the wing mirrors as well, moulded into the cockpit side as well. And I'll just place it down without dropping it. Steering works fine. That's a very stiffly set up steering system, so it doesn't feel like it's going to break. Very nicely put together there. Diecast as well, all from the front wing diecast, I think. Yeah, front wing's diecast. The whole body is diecast all the way up to the back. There's no plastic body panels. Everything is as it should be. And the rear bodywork does come off as well. I'm just trying to work out how I've done this, because usually when you turn the car upside down it just falls off, but it won't for me today. So I'm trying to prise it off. Of course it won't come off. Oh, hang on, there we go. I think that's done it. Really should have rehearsed this a bit more. Ah, there we go. No, hang on. No. Oh, there we go. Oh, come on, you bastard. No, doesn't want to come off. Oh, there we go. There, that's how you do it. You slide it under the rear wing. There we go. Right. Remove the bodywork. Here's the body panel. Nothing hugely magnificent about it. A few pegs to hold it into place. And painted matte black on the underside as well, so there's no rough paint marks on the underside. So, and it's nice glistening black as well. Bit of silver detail there as well. And yeah, it looks absolutely fine. Right, move that to one side without scratching the table. And we should have a good old gander at the new engine bay. And of course it's a Cosworth V8. Looks beautiful. All the cabling on top. Exhausts coming up the back. And also on top of the roll hoop as well. Oh, not a roll hoop, but underneath the roll hoop, to zoom out a bit more. You can see the fuel tank, all the cabling, the covers for the engine, and all the detail under there. Basically you can see right through to the bottom of the car, or through the bottom of the car, with the detailing. Beautifully done. Really worth the money I paid for this. And I'll get onto that in a minute. Let's have a quick look in the back there, see the exhausts and all the other gubbins there as well. Beautifully done. Not much I can say really, it's sort of lost for words on it. Sort of thing that's lost in Formula 1 these days, because all the modern Formula 1 cars have heat shields and things over their engines, so when they're in the pits being tinkered with, you can't see the engines. Or power units as we call them now. Engines are such an un-PC word these days. Has to be a power unit. Anyway, that's the engine. Of course, look down the other side, a bit of dust on the side there. I have had it out the box a couple of times, but it's not a huge thing. Just give it a quick wipe with a dust, not a dust rag, but a silk rag or something. And yeah, it does glisten very nicely, even under the artificial light I've got above me. It does glisten very nicely. Just do a quick zoom out there. Sort of forgetting what I'm supposed to be saying. I was meant to have a big list of things to say about this car, and I'm sort of forgetting them as I go along. But I've got the engine cover again. I shall reattach that. Pardon me. And I was trying to think it goes in that way. Push that bit through the roll hoop, and then into place there. So it goes back much better than it does when it comes off. Right, now I really shouldn't have put that back on, because I was just going to turn it over now and explain the underside. Now we've got the underside of the car. You can really see how the bodywork of the car curves up. So this is what they mean by the ground effects. The car starts with a curve up in one direction, gets flat, and then up the other way, basically creating a vacuum of air underneath the car. And you really see how the bodywork was designed underneath. I'm not sure if it's 100% accurate to the real thing. I know Minichamps are sort of restricted on what they can and cannot do, replicating these models, but I think that's pretty good as well. Also, you've got the silver skirts as well, which well, silver and black. They don't really move. They're not rubber or anything. They're just plastic. No, these are actually metal, I think. Yeah, they're metal skirts I've got on this one. Quite sharp at one end as well. But really see the underside of the car there. I don't want to tip it up too far because the engine cover's going to come off. But there we go. See, I don't want to tip it up too far, but you really get an idea of how the back end works on this car. And we'll just do another look under there. You can really see how the bodywork curves up into the rear suspension there, basically feeding the air through the rear wing, and then creating a massive vacuum, creating huge amounts of downforce, and making this car an absolute stunner, and well, stunner in looks and performance. So put the car back down. A few issues with the car I think were made, or pointed out upon its release. I think it's the decals on the car, which are on the car, are sort of not in the right places. I think the Olympus logo, I can't remember what it was. I know I was looking on the, I think it was Lee's Diecast forum, and basically they're pointing out the issues on there. I think there's sort of a mishmash of various different versions used throughout the season, sort of British Grand Prix version with Swedish Grand Prix version mixed together with the layouts of the decals. I can't remember exactly, but some decals are sort of not in the right place, and things like that. But yeah, I've got a nice decal on the rear wing pointing out the race victories, World Champion 1978. Should be a big JPS logo in the middle there, but of course they can't put that on the car. There are plenty of decal sheets available for this model as well, because it is basically a blank canvas for you to work with. Just stick the logo straight on without having to take any off, which is fine. Version wise, there are of course two versions of this car. This is the Mario version. Of course, you do have the Ronnie Peterson version, and I did see some photographs earlier in the year of a Hector Rabac version as well for the 1979 season. Basically, it's painted in a maroon colour. I think it's maroon or a funny brown. Basically for the Hector Rabac's own team, which he raced throughout 1979 with not much success though. Basically, there's a repaint of this mould. And I think there was another version as well with another number. I can't remember who was driving that one as well. It was the third car basically, but I haven't got the information on that one because I haven't done my research properly. But yeah, price wise for this car, you're going to have a difficult time getting hold of this one. Whenever they pop up on eBay, which isn't very often, they don't pop up very often on eBay at all. They're rare as rocking horse shit basically. So if they do pop up on eBay, you're going to have to get in there quick, because these things do go at a bidding war anyway. They do go for between £200 and £300 sometimes. That sort of shows you how sought after this car is. Whenever they do pop up, that's what you're up against, especially the Andretti version. If you're on a good day, between £200 and £300, these do sell for. The Peterson version, slightly less, about £150 to £200. But even that's not a bad sell. You know, if I put this on eBay now, I'll probably get to £100 by the end of the day. So yeah, and it's very sought after, or like I say, sought after, very rare. And I was lucky as hell to get hold of this car. I bought this at the Diecast Legends Damages Day in I think it was April 2010. It's basically the Diecast outlet Grand Prix Legends. They have a Damages Day, basically selling off damaged stock at the end of each financial year. And I went down there with my old man, and I picked this one up. It's on the middle of the table, sitting on its own. And I picked it up. It's one of the last models on the table actually. So if you go to this Damages Day, you're going to be, there's basically an ambush. As soon as the doors open, it's sort of a free for all. Everyone fucking runs in, and just picks up everything, whether it's valued or not or anything. They just pick it up, stick it in their baskets, and then that's it. And it pretty much left to pick up scraps. In which what this was just left on the table on its own. Apparently it's damaged. Well, I say damaged. It's got a paint chip on it. A paint chip so small you wouldn't notice it even if you looked for it. The paint chip is on here somewhere. It's a very minute paint chip. I'm going to zoom in a bit. Actually, you can see. Can't really see. There's a paint chip there. You can see it. very small paint chip just on the engine, on the winglet there. And judging by the look on the camera, it looks like it's blemished as well, but from the naked eye, it's not blemished at all. The camera seems to pick up things better than I can. Anyway, that's all that was wrong with the car. The box is fine, the rest of the car is fine, the innards of the box are fine, the plastic window, everything's fine on this car and its box. And that's why it was in the damages day. And the price was £30. And I snapped that up, so I'm not going to let anybody have that. And I think that was the best buy I think I've ever had for a Minichamps model. £30. And if I were to put it on eBay, I'd probably get £200 to £300. I'm quite happy with that, actually. Clearly someone wasn't happy with paying £90 for a car with a paint chip on it, so they returned it, and I picked it up for £30, which is now worth £300, sorry. But that's the way people will think. But yeah, I think I've done quite well there. Pointing out any other issues with the car, I think a few aftermarket details can be added to the car. I think there's a grille you can put over the engine vent or the engine bay, so I'll put a grill over the top there. For the top there, you put a mesh grill. And I think that's pretty much it. Some people I've seen take the drivers out as well and resell them on eBay, which is ridiculous. If we're going to pay money for something, you want the driver with the car, or the car with the driver. I don't want to spend money on just the driver. Anyway, not much else I can say about it at the moment. But yeah, an absolute stunning car, an absolute beauty. I love it, and for that price, I ain't gonna complain. Not much else I can say at the moment. Yeah. But anyway, I love it, and it's gonna stay in my collection for many years. Anyway, that's my review of this car. I hope you taken note of anything I've said and probably ignored everything I've said. Anyway, this is Rich signing off, logging off and disappearing, and I shall return with another review. So that's the 79 over, so bye for now.